So essentially, when you start exercising, you're now shifting blood to working muscle, the skeletal muscle, and then you're also shifting blood to the skin to then dissipate heat, and you're losing volume when you sweat to cool off. So there's not only a true drop in volume because you have to sweat water to cool the body off, but there's now a shift in blood that used to go to the heart that is now having to go to the skeletal muscle. So there's a relative drop in blood volume now feeding the heart. So there's this massive just depletion of blood volume within 5 to 10 minutes of 8 to 10%, essentially, when you measure it in the arterial supply, because it's now going into the skeletal muscle, into the skin. You have to boost blood volume by 8 to 10% so you don't get the drop that occurs within 5 to 10 minutes. And the way to do that is to take salt and fluids in a fairly high concentration, essentially a concentration that's very similar to blood, which is ironic. And we actually learned how to do this through astronauts. There's a really interesting story here on hydration. And it's when we send astronauts into outer space for several days, because there's no gravity, their blood volume drops. So when they, upon re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere and the gravity, they have this low blood volume that was causing astronauts to pass out. So NASA had to figure out how to boost blood volume 2 hours before re-entry. And really a lot of the data actually comes from that. It's kind of interesting.
Wow. And basically the fluid that is in something like this 32 ounces of water, and I put one of these packets in there, will do that. In essence, is this kind of, you said it's like getting the ratio down to what blood is to some degree. It does not taste like blood, but in essence, it gives you the same, it's almost like a transfusion, right? Is that what
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds
Yeah.
like we're vampires here, but is it like a transfusion, right? It really does give us that edge.
It 100% does. This is, again, to acutely boost performance, but essentially between 3,000 and 4,300 milligrams of sodium per 26 to 33.8 ounces, respectively. So 33.8 ounces is a liter of fluid, and 4,300 milligrams has been tested as probably the best way to boost blood volume. That's now pretty high. A lot of people would say, wow, that's really high. You don't have to do that, though, before regular, typical exercise. This is, okay, I have an NFL game or I have a UFC fight. You want to be consuming the 3 to 4,000 milligrams of sodium in that amount of fluid. And adding glycine to that can actually improve the absorption of salt and decrease core body temperature as well.